purpose of this session is to discuss a new feature available to Vicinity 2.4 users that are running Great Plains version 10. In Vicinity 2.4 we added two additional screens into the GP framework or the GP product that's available to users with appropriate security access. The first one is in sales order processing. I'm going to go ahead and open up a sales order that I already have in Vicinity, and I'll pick in Great Plains. I'll go ahead and pick up a sales order called VM009, and as we can see, I've added a couple of my Vicinity demo products, my FG01 and my FG02. That is the red paint, the 5-gallon and the 1-quart red paint. Now, as I'm adding those, I enter my quantities just as I always did, and at any stage along the way, I can go to Additional and Vicinity Inquiry, or I can just hit the Control S, either one, and a lookup screen will come up showing me all Vicinity data that is related to these items in sales order entry. So in this case, for my VM009, I've got my two finished good items, as we saw on the sales order, my FG01 and my FG02. And when I toggle between either one of those, I'm seeing the current opening balance, that's the quantity on hand in GP, as well as all transactions that are related to that finished good. So in this case, the first three lines are batches that I've got that I'm planning to put some quantity on hand, and then I've got some sales orders from within GP. So in the last column, I'm actually seeing unavailable to promise. So I start with 7, I add 100, that goes to 107, another 200, that brings me to 307, and then I start decrementing these quantities. So without having to do anything in addition, I can go and see what Vicinity transactions are sitting there actually with GP transactions, in this case sales orders. Again, the way I got there was Additional and then Vicinity Inquiry, or I can just hit the Control S at any stage along the way. Now, in addition to the sales transaction entry, I've also got the ability to do something very similar in purchase order. So let me go to purchase order entry, and I'll pick up a purchase order that I already have in the system. And this is for Ace Travel, and Ace Travel for some reason is selling me some dispersant and some preservative. Same concept, I can enter my quantities just as I'm used to in GP. Can hit Additional and then Vicinity Inquiry, and now I'm able to see all relevant information for those items that are on this purchase order. In this case, RMO2. I've got 3 batches that are being used, and I've also got a purchase order, which is this purchase order that I'm looking at. And so I'm able to see my available quantity through time based on this screen. Once again, it's through Additional, Vicinity Inquiry, or the Control S screen will bring that up. Now the setup or the configuration of this is actually very, very simple. There are a couple of files that need to be copied to your local workstation wherever you run Great Plains. And those files will ship on the CD and also available on the FTP site. And there are 4 files, 2 for the purchase order, 2 for the sales order process, and they should be copied into wherever you store GP. So at your local workstation, it is probably a very similar path to this, and you're going to find a folder called Add-Ons. This is a folder that is created by GP for this purpose, for external applications like Vicinity to be able to call screens from the additional menu item on any of the screens. At this stage, we've created screens for purchase order entry as well as for sales order entry. We're hopeful that this is beneficial to you. If you find other areas within GP, GP10 specifically, that you could use to have Vicinity information displayed and exposed onto that screen, please let us know. These screens are rather straightforward and easy for us to create, and as you can tell, rather simple to deploy. Check in on the installation instructions for the upgrade. It'll show you how to set up the configuration and where to copy the files and all of that. So this is something you should be able to do on your own. If you have any difficulty, please reach out to us directly, and we'll be happy to help you, and or go directly to your Vicinity.